What is going on, everybody? This is a recap for Friday, April 4th, and what we kind of saw in the market there. Yeah, we're crashing pretty hard right now, and with the volume behind the last 2 days and the way we closed, it's very possible we could be looking at a gap down situation on Monday. It's not guaranteed, but I'll show you what everyone's talking about essentially. Everyone's comparing this to a potentially 1987 collapse here, Black Monday type thing, which would be kind of coincidental to have another Black Monday. It's very possible though. So this was the Friday in October 1987, and we closed not even as bearish as we did on Friday's close, our Friday's close, but we gapped down 9%, gapped down 9%, bounced 6, and then dropped 25% total. So that was a pretty crazy. It did end up marking the bottom between these 2 days. It did mark the bottom for the 1987 crash, but it literally took years to recover that essentially. Now, are we in the same situation? I guess we'll see what the headlines and what the futures is going to show us. I'm going to do another video tomorrow once futures open up to kind of give us a little bit of what to expect on Monday once the actual we can get some sort of understanding of what the stock markets or what the Wall Street's saying about the tariff news and what they think of it. So going back, if that was the case, the S&P 500 could gap down to, like, if we had a similar event, we would be looking at gapping down to for the 450, this support essentially. And now that I'm seeing this, it is a previous our previous all-time high resistance, which to backtest that is kind of, I could see that actually happening now, like a very likely scenario. This is just the gravity of this move now has me thinking that it's a very good possibility that we see backtest this 457.98 area. At the least at this point, this is just such a big bounce. Unless something changes, that is kind of where I'm looking at this point to see, do we get a big bounce from this area, or does that mark a bottom? But anyways, if we were to compare to what happened on Black Monday, we could end like 375. That would be the equivalent of what happened on Black Monday, and that would be absolutely wild if that happened. Don't want to go that extreme, but it is always a possibility that things could recreate, events could recreate themselves. So it is a kind of an unnerving time. Nobody's winning in this type of market. Everyone's a loser in this type of market. Most, like, even the hedge funds, they're situated like 2-to-1 short or long. Nobody's making money in this. I've taken hits lately, and everyone else has. So this is a hard environment to be playing in. So I understand that everyone's kind of on edge right now, and I'm kind of playing out the scenarios of a possibility. Not saying that's going to happen. I want to see how futures open up first to see what kind of we're looking at. Also, we are beat up already on the daily. Not to say it can't get worse and with more volume, but we are pretty beat up on the RSI, on the weekly and the daily now. Pretty much we're oversold on every time frame except for like the smaller ones are cooled off a little bit, slightly, but yeah, not much. Anyways, so looking at I don't really want to go over here. Because yeah, a lot of these, I don't know how these keep showing up. These just randomly show up on my charts. Yeah, so individual names, obviously everything's getting hits in different magnitudes. Actually, well, I'll go through some of them anyways, and just go over what we're looking at. And just like actually for meta here, like the S&P, we could be looking at a back test of a previous high. It's always a possibility. When you get breakouts, they do like to back test previous all-time highs. So I wouldn't be surprised, but that's obviously quite a bit of a ways down. 24% down. We just broke this support here with no follow through at this time, but obviously that could all change on Monday. So yeah, ideally we want to bounce, and that is the best case scenario, is that we just bounce in futures, and it's a possibility we could have hit a low too. Like going back to the S&P, it's a possibility we could, like, futures, something good comes out and we could end up bouncing on futures, and this could mark a bottom with the volume climax here. So we're pretty much wait and see at this point. My guess is as good as yours. Go through some more names. Nvidia, just looking at this last support here. Then we're just looking down here. We've already broke that previous high. So those are our supports we're looking at potentially for Monday. Palantir is holding up actually fairly well. So this is our, actually I guess we're kind of confirming our head and shoulders at this point, so maybe it's not actually holding up the best. Yeah, so that was kind of a weekly head and shoulders. Now confirming, and actually I do have to say Palantir, we could easily head back to our previous all-time high here. The amount this ran 2,000% in 2 years is a bit too much too fast, and the actual valuation of this is probably closer to that 45 level. Just kind of my thoughts on that. So we're just looking at this support here. We do have gaps potential too, just under the 45 range. So yeah, there's gaps all over this chart actually. And if we go into a bear market, that could be the time where it closes these gaps. Tesla, one of the big bounces, but already looking back towards the low. And daily trends already changed back to the bears, so not looking good on anything. I'm not too sure what to say about individual names, because everything's just going to be treated differently with tariff news wherever your company is located. Tesla is obviously going to be less affected than a lot of the other automakers, but still, nonetheless, it does have some parts and whatnot that are made elsewhere. So yeah, Tesla's just looking at this daily support here, and we'll see if we can get an equilibrium to play out, but we've lost a lot of the bounce so far that we would just be expecting a lower high on the way back up. Apple, straight free fall. Really just looking at this gap fill territory at this point. Might want to do that, but then we have this major support down here at 163, and then we would be looking at a monthly head and shoulders at this point. So wherever this does bottom out on whatever names, we are looking at monthly head and shoulders now. That we could, even like if we bounce, we should still be expecting lower highs on the way back up, and cautious of, okay, well, if we could just make a lower high and then make a lower low. IBM, gap down, gap and go, or gap and crap, sorry. Now we've closed this gap fully, and we're just looking at, well, we left a gap behind even, so now we're just looking at this 213 support, and whenever this bottoms, we'll just be looking at a head and shoulders on whatever time frame, a weekly time frame. So we're looking for that monthly high or low at this point. Still above the monthly 12 EMA, but catching up to that soon. Google, just straight dropping, losing support here, closing at the low. I would be inclined to see a gap down open on this on Monday too. Just the way things set up, increasing volume, close at the very low, very, very possible now. And yeah, we didn't even, I was very much expecting a higher low than 147, or the support 148.03, but straight through it. No, we're just looking at 130.93 at this point. Amazon setting up its potential head and shoulders here, looking for a higher low than 151.61, and then we have a monthly head and shoulders at that point, if we can even hold that low at that point. Baba, obviously going to be highly affected by tariff news. Just lost the 50 and just gapped right past that. That's crazy. Losing our previous high too. Don't like to see that. It looks like it's trying to defend it though, because that big lower wick. Sorry. So it's potential that it is trying to set in a bottom here at this point. Actually, we must have just hit oversold and then bounced up from that on the daily. So we'll see. We want to see that that support hold now at this point. There's a potential that change the hourly trend. So yeah, it looks like they're trying to change the hourly trend at this point. AMD, wow, down to 85.76. Just like, this is, yeah, one of those names that I hated on for the longest time. As soon as it lost this monthly uptrend, I was just like, no, I don't want to even look at it until we're in a monthly uptrend. And yeah, I will never play a name that's not in a monthly uptrend. So we lost that. We never regained it, and we've just been straight down since. So still looking for a monthly higher low. I mean, this is like quarterly actually. We're just setting up a quarterly head and shoulders. So you look at this. Now we're just looking for a quarterly higher low than 54.57. That is pretty bad, and I'm not sure what it is with the fundamentals of this company, but what the technicals are saying is not ideal, less than ideal, especially for the rest of the chip sector that was thriving. Sorry, it was falling before many of them were. Big old bear market on AMD. Visa, one of the stronger names, but still rough at this time. Closer to its relative high than a lot of names. 14.57. Yeah, so that's better than the S&P is, but still not good. We're just looking for a higher low than 303.33, and then we'll just, which isn't a guarantee when you have crazy news like this coming out, so you don't know. When I say where it's more likely to find a higher low at that point, that's barring news. If there's no news, you would expect a higher low. But if there is news, which there is significant news right now, it could easily crush through this, no problem. Supports mean less with news, or resistances. When there's news involved, all bets are off. RGTI still in this. Oh, did we break it? Well, we did break the equilibrium finally. 703 was the line. and we broke that. And the thing is, with this name, it's all hypothetical. It's not non-revenue earning. So caution on this name, RGTI. It's non-revenue earning. It's very speculative. That's the word, and not proven. So we were trading down here, down closer to 80 cents, and then shot up to 21. We could easily just go revisit these lows again, and I have a feeling we will. Most likely scenario, we will revisit these lows. My personal opinion, for any companies that are made giant runs that were for no reason, essentially, I would expect them to at least visit their previous all-time high. Oh, actually, I didn't even know it ran this far back. Sorry, but I would honestly be expecting these type of lows for this company. If we fall out of this, since we're falling out of this equilibrium, that is the reality that we could head down to this 343 level easily. Microsoft. Now we're just looking for, I don't know, we're right at support right there. At this previous all-time high here. But yeah, we closed underneath it. Most likely scenario is a gap down, open on Monday with what I'm seeing, just across the boards. That's just the way SPY closed is just, you have to assume it's a gap down open. And so we're just looking at these supports here, kind of right here. So it's quite a bit lower. 320 to 305 range, which we could quickly approach. And then this previous all-time high here, actually, that could come into play as well. 340. So yeah, kind of that mid to low 3 or lower 300 range is kind of what I'm looking at. Between here, 340 and 305 is kind of our target area if we lose this now. SMCI, just falling out, confirming its bear flag here and looking for a higher low than 225.71. And if that can't hold, then we're looking at 1736. And if that does hold, we're just looking at a weekly bear or head and shoulders. All right, that's all I'm going to go over today. I will do another update tomorrow and try and like in the evening, so I can get a little bit of futures under. I might do it later, like probably I'm Pacific, so I'll do it later in the evening so I can see as much of the futures data as possible before I put it out, and then we will wake up on Monday and see pretty much how that goes. Okay, all right, I will see you tomorrow, and take care. Bye.